Hi folks, and welcome back to Lotus Tech Talk, and this time we'll be replacing the ball joints in the wishbones. The Lotus Elise has on its suspension system something what we call wishbones, and this is a wishbone, and it's actually mounted on the chassis, and then on the outer edges you find a ball joint. And a ball joint is something that can move in all kind of directions, as you can see. You know, it's like a joint of a human, and it can move around in all kind of directions. That is what a ball joint is doing. So it allows the uprights to move in all kind of directions when suspension is going up and down, and when you're turning left or right, and that's what it does. There are basically two ball joints like this fitted per wheel, one on the top and one on the bottom. They are actually holding the uprights in place. Now I have removed the disc and the wheel, but just to show you how easy it is to get to it. Oh, I enjoy the sun. It's been a long time we had sun. Anyhow, sorry for that. So what we are going to do is we are going to replace the upper ball joint. Now they have wear and tear over time, so you will have to work on them once in a while. Good. Most of the time you will find out that in the MOT you will fail if there is something wrong with the ball joints. The ball joints I bought are replacement ball joints, but they're a bit special. They have an adjustment screw on the top, but you don't need to buy those. I'm not sure if this is a gadget or not, but with this screw you can actually adjust the stiffness of the ball joint. See? It's a bit more stiff, so that's the only thing it does. Now, if we're going to remove the ball joints, you need to get from underneath the car a bit. And it's in the back of the uprights, as I told you, and they are held in place with a bolt. And I'm going to zoom a little bit closer in a minute so you can see it better. But you will need some special tools. You will need a ball joint splitter tool, and this is just one model. You have other models that you can just knock in and it splits off the ball joint from the upright, because sometimes they can be a bit tight. And then, under normal circumstances, you would have to remove the whole wishbone from the car and then put the wishbone on a press and then press out or press in the old ball joint. Now that's a lot of work to remove all that. That's why there are tools on the market, and you can buy on the different Lotus shops. It's kind of a manual press tool that you actually can use to press in and press out the ball joints while the wishbone is in place. So I am going to use this one, although I don't have to because I will still change the bushes on the wishbones as well. But nevertheless, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you how you can replace the ball joints without having to remove the wishbones. So let us get a bit closer up to the upright so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the lower ball joint, and this is the upper ball joint. And this is what we call the upright, where the wheel bearing is attached to. So we'll be working on the top one. I removed the disc and the brakes and all this, but you don't have to do this when you do this work, but I just did it so I can make the video a bit easier and have easier access to it. So first of all, you will have to undo this big top nut here. And you do this with a socket 19. And let's do that first. Now you may have to put some force on this. Now I tend to not to remove it completely. I push it back a bit so I can actually put the tool actually on the nut so I have more space. So then you get your ball joint splitter tool, whatever type you have. And now I have this type here. You stick it in between. You may knock it in a little bit so it fits nicely. And then you either knock it through, if it's one of those forks that you have, but in this case, we just tighten the bolt. And of course that won't work like this. And you see, at one moment in time, it will actually split. And it's already coming apart. Okay. So as you see, now the whole thing is loose. They can be a bit tough though. So now I should be able to remove the nut completely. There we go. Now I am supporting the whole system a bit with a jack, so I'm going to lower the jack. So here we go, it's all split, and this thing is really sticky. You see how it actually blocks? It should not be like this, it should be very smooth. All right, so now I need to press it out. And I will use a cutter to cut off the rubber, because I'm not going to use it anymore, because otherwise it may be in the way while I'm trying to press it out. So let's position the tool. You need an insert, like so. And now basically we just need to tighten it up. The tool is fitted, but now you need to align it properly. Once you fit the tool, you have to make sure that the opening here, which is the bigger circle, fits over the ball joint, which has to come out through it. So you need to really align it, because otherwise you won't be able to get it out. Similar for the bottom part, the little tool or the insert we put in has to sit flush with the actual ball joint, and now you can start tightening down the bolts. There we go. And I think this is it. This is the old ball joint. So the ball joint is removed, and now it's a matter of cleaning it up. Clean it out. Putting the new ball joint up, and this will be the new ball joint that will have to go in. And then we can actually press it in. Believe it or not, guys, but the best way to fit a ball joint is to have it in the freezer first and have it cool down. Your wife might be a little bit upset about it, but that's the best way to do it, because of the cold, it actually shrinks. So it's always good to place them a few hours in the freezer before you're going to fit them. Once the new ball joint is in place, you can remove the bracket. There we go. And now we have a brand new ball joint fitted. It sits nice and flush. You might want to double check it. So once you pushed in the ball joint, then you should check it that it's properly seated, and you can actually see the seating through the hole here, which is on the outside of the holder, and the top part is the new bearing or ball joint, and the bottom part is the surface where it should sit against, and you can see it's nicely sitting on it. If it's not, then you have not inserted the new ball joint in full. So check on that. Spray some protective fluid on it. This stuff is quite good. This is ACF 50. It's an anti-corrosion formula. Quite good stuff. The last thing to do is put the ball joint back into the upright. And the only thing left now is to bolt it down. Now bolting it down may sometimes be a bit of a problem, because it rotates, so you may have to put some pressure on it. And now you need to torque it down to 55 nanometers and we should be all set. There we go, done. That's the old bearing and I can't hardly move it. So this is really tough. It's kind of stuck. See, now I was able to move it. But really, it's tough. So that is certainly not good anymore. And I'm happy that I replaced it. Changing the ball joint out of the Lotus Elise, it's a piece of cake. It takes you about an hour and a half and it's not really hard. You can do it with the wishbones in place, but you need to have this special press tool. Not expensive, around 50 euros, together with the inserts. Especially when you have an older one, you may have to buy the extra one with the opening here if you're going to fit ball joints that are adjustable or friction adjustable. Those are the ones that I have. That's why you saw the bolt on the top. And you will also need to have a what we call a ball joint splitter tool. They come in different flavors and forms, but you know, you can get those everywhere. Those are very cheap devices as well. And that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you in my next video. And if you have any comments or recommendations, let me know because I'm always eager to learn from you guys. And keep up the spirit. See you.